Lauren. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining me on the Whole Tooth podcast. I'm Sara, and we have Lauren Cattie here with us today. Lauren, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
My name is Lauren, and thank you for having me, by the way. Happy to be here. I live in Chester County, Pennsylvania. I have a background in, actually, previously I was in EFTA years and years ago, although Sara has tried to persuade me back into the field. I also have a background in aromatherapy and VitaFlex, which is a form of reflexology, and I am also a birth doula. I also am a homeschooling mom of four, and I have a lot of background. Like I said, I'm a birth doula, but I've also had a lot of different birth experiences with my own kids, everything from hospital to birth center to home birth. So I'm excited to chat a little bit about that today.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And how we met was in Exton at
Mhm.
an expo.
Yes, I was hosting a holistic market with a bunch of different like local holistic artisan vendors, and you came all the way down.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was so excited because I feel like that's something that we need more of in
Hmm.
Central PA. There's such a need for it and a desire for more holistic vendors and small
Hmm.
businesses. And it was nice that it was in one place. And
Yep.
I met several of the homeschool moms
Yes.
who are patients here
Yes.
now, and
That's awesome.
it's a really awesome network.
Mhm.
The moms are also cool.
Yep.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit about your birth stories. You
Hmm.
said they're all so different. Do you want
Hmm.
to just kind of give us a rundown of what the experience was like for you for the different births?
Yes. So, like I said, I have four kids, and I was actually very young when I got pregnant with my first. I was 18, and I didn't really know that like I had choices.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of went with like what the I'll say mainstream or standard like American way is. I went to an OBGYN. I gave birth in the hospital. I went into it like wanting like kind of like even at the time I wasn't really like into like natural and holistic living
Mm-hmm.
yet. Like you know what I mean? I was,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew that I kind of wanted a natural birth, and I went to the hospital, and like as soon as I walked in, I was offered an epidural. I was just like hooked up to monitors and like laying in bed, like not. It felt so like disconnected and like just like here you go, and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a
And
business.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And I'll never forget, like, I'd been in labor for 12 hours and I birthed this beautiful baby boy, and they just took him away and like swept him over into the corner and took him to the nursery. And like, my husband had to keep going out and asking, like, can we have our baby? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
delivered him at 6, and this was like midnight. My husband's like, where is our
Where's the baby?
baby? And yeah, it just like, even being young and not really being like connected yet, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
I knew intuitively that
Right.
like it
That's
wasn't
so
right. It
wrong.
didn't
Yeah.
feel right. Um so yeah, when I ended up getting pregnant with my second, I kind of continued down the same path. I went back to the OBGYN and I was 28 weeks pregnant, and I was reading like I felt this like I was like I just knew that that wasn't right, and
Mm-hmm.
I felt the pull to do something different. I was
Mm-hmm.
reading all of these books, and I watched the documentary The Business of Being Born. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you've seen it, but
Yep.
it's on YouTube. Fantastic.
Yep.
Highly recommend. Um, and I called a birth center local to me, and I begged them to take me because I was so far along in my
Right.
pregnancy. And they told me no at first, and then finally they agreed. And so I went on to have that birth experience, and it was so incredibly empowering. It was like I had a completely natural birth. I
Amazing.
followed my body's natural cues,
Which
and
we
like,
have cues. Our
yes,
body tells us what to
yes,
do.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
when and I feel like that's kind of the problem with like the hospital. Obviously modern medicine is needed. It's there for emergencies, but what I've seen in my experience as a birth doula too is like the hospital creates
Problems.
problems,
Yeah.
and it's very just disconnected. It doesn't
Yeah.
allow you to be connected to like what does your body need right now during
Right.
labor? Do you need to move? Do you
Right.
need to get in water? Do you need to and I
Yes.
would say it's funny because my first birth, I had an epidural,
Mm-hmm.
and I, I was in bed the whole time, but that birth was significantly more painful
For
than
sure.
my natural
Mm-hmm.
births that I've had. And I just find that so interesting. And it's
Right.
because I wasn't allowed to
Right.
follow I shouldn't
Cues.
say I wasn't allowed, but that's how I
Right.
felt in the moment because I didn't know like I could go against what they were saying,
It's hard too, though, because you have a whole team of people and they're almost not rushing you, but there's a sense of this fabricated or like urgency where you're not able to just relax and kind of let everything flow and take your time. And if you're not progressing, whatever that means, then they push different meds. I don't know if you had Pitocin.
I didn't.
Nice.
I did afterwards because I had postpartum hemorrhaging, but I do, again, I'm a birth doula, so I see so often, I do have a lot of clients who do home birth or birth center birth, but occasionally I have a hospital birth or a birth hospital transfer from the birth center. And it's like they put them on this time limit.
Right.
Like, all your bodies are the same, and this is the track you have to be on, and this is what we expect at this time. And that's just not the case.
No, everyone's different.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen like the statistic. It's like, I think 1 in 3 women have a C-section at this point.
Yes,
that's
I believe it.
Wild. Like, do we really believe that 1 in 3 women can't give birth to their baby?
No, I mean, I feel like it's, unfortunately, it's a money thing. I mean, the movie that you referenced, The Business of Being Born, I'll have to link it because I feel like that is very elucidating to what happens behind closed doors and maybe why women are sort of funneled through and funneled out.
Yep.
And it's like wham bam.
Yeah. Yep. And so much of like modern medicine now is like that. It's really hard to find, but yeah, I feel very passionate about like birth should not be like, it's not something that needs to be treated. It's
That's right.
An experience. You should be experiencing it, So
and the problem with a lot of the hospital births, and I'm not trying to, disparage the hospital system because I feel like there's a lot of women who can benefit from having a closer set of eyes, and there are high risk pregnancies and there are a lot of lives saved.
Yep.
But not everyone is the same, to your point. And not every woman needs to have the epidural or Pitocin. I had 2 epidural sticks. I had Pitocin. I was progressing great at home, no pain. As soon as I got to the hospital, all the pain.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the fluorescent lights or it's the stress, but something changed and it was just immediate. And so the Pitocin doesn't help either.
It doesn't.
For sure.
It's synthetic. It's synthetic. Like, we're not meant to be experiencing. Our bodies know what to do. And to your point, like, yes, like I said, modern medicine is needed. It's good for emergency purposes. Sometimes people do need it, but I don't feel like it should be our go-to. I think what I've witnessed and experienced is like, when you just like surrender the labor experience and you're relaxed, like in an environment that you feel good in, your body will relax and your baby will come out smoother. But when I see it all the time, people go in the hospital and, like you said, the fluorescent lights and like that disconnection from like, oh wait, I'm not in charge, somebody else is.
Absolutely.
And all you just tense up, and then you can actually have like your labor can backtrack, because when your body doesn't feel safe, it's not going to bring a baby out.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. And then they're like, you're not progressing, so we need to give you Pitocin and this and that. And then the contractions are too much for the baby.
They're way too much.
Yeah. And the baby's heart rate drops and they're like, we need to rush you into a C-section. It's like a whole cycle.
Right. Yeah. And then you can't have anything to drink or eat. It's like,
which is such outdated advice.
You're in labor and you're doing the hardest thing. It's like, how many marathons? What's the statistic? Or they've equated it to like running 2 marathons or something in a row, something insane. And your body needs nourishment.
Yep.
And you're basically starved.
Right.
I remember before I went in for my C-section, which I didn't want to go that route, but I was funneled into that route. I was given an antiemetic to prevent me from throwing up. I didn't throw up one time the whole pregnancy, and that was the one thing I threw up because it was on an empty stomach. And I'm like, I can't take medicine on an empty stomach. I threw it up. So, but thankfully everyone's fine. But it was not the way I wanted it to go.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that now there's this conversation of let's try to do things naturally so that women can, like you said, stay connected. I'm just thankful I was able to stay awake, because there's a huge. There have been studies done about women suffering from postpartum depression when they are put under, they're asleep, and then deliver the baby and wake up. And there's such a disconnect from them and their baby. And it translates then after the baby is born into the baby's life. The mom still feels a little disconnected for a while. And that's, so unfortunate. And you're losing out on so much bonding time. And the birthing experience is so important for that bonding and skin to skin. And with you being separated from your baby, your first one, you don't know any better.
Right. And also, like, as women, like, the labor and birth experience, we are supposed to have certain steps of labor and birth for our body to produce natural hormones. Like when
Right.
you're given Pitocin,
That's right.
your body shuts off oxytocin production.
Correct.
Oxytocin is the hormone that makes you love your baby.
Correct.
So like think about that when you're not producing that naturally. Like of course moms are going to have postpartum depression or be like, why do I feel so disconnected? Why do I, not feel like myself?
Right.
Like it's, yeah.
It shuts it down. It's
Mhm.
synthetic. You're right. It's
Yeah.
synthetic. It's
Mhm.
synthetic, and the body shuts down its own natural
Yep.
production. Which
And it's interesting, like there's even little things that people don't think of, like putting a hat on the baby. Like when you smell your baby's head, it makes you produce hormones, and they put a hat on the baby, and then you don't. It's simple things like that.
I
Even
believe it.
yeah,
I believe it. There's
it's
just, yeah.
I mean, our bodies, like we were created. Our bodies, they have a natural process for a reason. Like they know what to do. Like
Yeah.
God made our body. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? Like that's how
Right.
it's supposed to be. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And we just interfere with it.
Yep.
And then what were the other two births like?
So I had 2 home births following that. My husband always jokes if we have another one that we're gonna have it in the woods.
Progressively more and more natural.
Yes, yes. So yeah, I had a beautiful home water birth with my third, Owen, who you've met.
Love that.
And that was amazing, and that was such an empowering experience. And just like giving birth and then going and laying in your bed, like not having to like travel anywhere, having everybody like poked or proud of you. And I did have midwives at my house, and I think a lot of people think with home birth, like, are you just like on your own? There are people that free birth, yes, exactly. But I had midwives and a nurse, and I actually even like postpartum hemorrhaged, and honestly they stopped it better than the hospital did. Like they hooked me up to an IV right there, and it was an amazing experience. So then I went on to have my fourth is my only daughter, and I had a home birth with her as well. So yeah,
water birth is, to me, that's the ultimate. That's the way to go. If I could, that's what I would have loved. Yeah, but they scare you too with your high risk. I mean, my age, other than that, nothing was really high risk. I'm healthy otherwise. And my son was healthy the whole pregnancy. So yeah, I wish it could have been different. I'm so happy to hear that you had positive experiences after, and you can attest to the different experiences that were so varied. Have you noticed any differences in your children now that they're older? Allergies or just differences that you think may be attributed?
Yes, absolutely. So my first, not just my birth experience, but also like his first few months of life were very, I'll say like mainstream. Like I wasn't really into holistic living and wellness yet. Yeah. And so he had some like different, he went to his checkups at the doctor and like different medical interventions and like some things that I don't do with my other kids, and just he was in the medical system, but also at home, like I used like mainstream toxic cleaners, and I used like toxic baby shampoo on him and all the things. And when he was younger, he had so many issues that now I know, I feel like they try to chalk these things up to normal. Like, oh, every kid has allergies, eczema, is sick and has a cold every few months, and babies have reflux and colic and this and that. None of my other kids had those things. None of them. They didn't have even like none of my other kids even had ear infections to where he had ear infections, and he had asthma and had like a nebulizer. And I really, having him and like experiencing that is really what made me kind of wake up to like wellness and holistic living. And I literally have seen him become healthier. He doesn't have any of those things anymore. The things that they say they'll have for life, like eczema and allergies. And he does have a dog allergy, but that's right. But back then he was, but he was, back then it was like bad allergies, and he's healed from all that. Doesn't amazing. Have, so.
And two, I think we had talked about, my son, we had started off in the medical system, and we're trying to do things a little bit more holistically now. And, I've seen a change even with my dog. Having to have some medical interventions and now being on the healthier side. I know it sounds silly.
No, it doesn't at all.
But like they're both growing so well. I think Bodhi is mostly done growing just because he's a little over a year. My son is so healthy. He's growing really well. But there were some scary things with both my son and my dog that I attribute to maybe, not being as clean living. And now that we are clean living, and my son was the inspiration for it too. And I think a lot of moms
Yeah.
have found that, in the 80s and the 90s, we were living one way, but that stuff bioaccumulates. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people were like, well, it was fine when we were growing up. Things were a little different then.
Mm-hmm.
We not only had more sort of toxicity in our environment, but we've had bioaccumulation,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not only taking that on, we're passing it on to our children, and then we're adding on top of that. So
Yes.
there's this snowball effect where they're having a greater magnitude of exposure
Mm-hmm.
than we did. And so we're seeing the effects of that now, I
Yes.
feel like.
Yeah,
Don't you
I agree.
agree? Yeah.
And also, I always question people that say, well, I use it and I'm fine. I'm like, are you fine?
Right.
Like, how many meds are you on? How
Right.
many health issues do you
Right.
have? I think the problem is, like what I said, a lot of people chalk things up to normal,
Right.
you know? But yeah, I mean, our kids' generation is the sickest generation that has
Mm-hmm.
ever lived. We're the sickest developed country in the
Mm.
entire world. And I find it very interesting that, I mean, even just the chemicals allowed in our products and our food, like those are illegal in most other countries
Oh,
because
for
they're
sure.
proven to
Right.
cause all the things that the typical American suffers from.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And a lot of the moms in my practice are more holistic minded. That's
Hmm.
basically how they found me, and we kind of have our tribe. And I can say too, like, maybe the first kiddo wasn't the second and third are, and we're trying to play catch up with the first one to get to where the other ones are in terms of health, but overall, really healthy. And I hear the same stories from moms. Like,
Yep.
we started out not being holistic. We've changed some things, maybe cleaning agents, maybe getting rid of certain, I don't know, candles
Yep.
versus diffusers, shampoo, things we're putting on our body, on our skin, our
Hmm.
largest organ. And now we're having this turnaround. Now we have fewer allergies, etc. What is something you would recommend to moms and dads who are trying to incorporate or trying to become more holistic? Like, what are
Hmm.
the easiest things that they can do to start off with?
I think, well, advice that I would give to anybody is like, because, and I went through, I think a lot of moms that are shifting into wellness go through this like perfection phase where you think you
Mm-hmm.
have to like throw everything away immediately
Mm-hmm.
and like have to be perfect. I always tell people, I'm like, I still bleach my hair, but what
Mm-hmm.
I do
Right.
every day is healthy, you know? But like, um, I like what you said about like a lot of moms have the same story because it's true. Like it takes illness for people to value wellness. And so if somebody's shifting into wellness, I would say like the first, I mean, just pick like a few things.
Yeah.
Like my first thing would be laundry detergent because I think
Mm-hmm.
about things like you're wearing your clothes all day,
Right.
every day. And I don't think people realize how much like my after being in the wellness space and like having that mindset for so long, my thought is like I'm not going to use anything on my body that I would not eat. That's
Mm-hmm.
my thought. That's just how I live. Because I don't think a lot of people realize that like what you put on your body, what is sitting against your body, what you're rubbing on your body is absorbing into your bloodstream
Bloodstream,
and
yeah,
can be found in every cell in your body within 20
for
minutes.
sure.
So laundry detergent, like if you cannot buy clean laundry detergent in the store, literally. Like you go and you're washing your clothes in these things and your kids' clothes and they're sitting against your skin all day and the residue's
Mm-hmm.
rubbing off. Things like, you know, anything you're using on your body, like cleaner, body wash, like
Mm-hmm.
shampoo, toothpaste. So I would
Mm-hmm.
say like just pick a few things out and just swap out. Household cleaners are so easy to swap
Yeah.
out. I know there's several like all-purpose toxin-free cleaners that you
Mm-hmm.
literally can swap out all of your like cleaning products for one thing.
Yeah.
Very simple. But yeah, I always like to make sure people know like because like I said, I went through that phase of like everything has to be perfect, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
in my home, my everyday, like every product I have in my home is toxin free. I don't use toxins on my family. I'm very it's like it's about mindfulness, not perfection, you
Right.
know.
But
So
it's taken a while to build
yes,
up to
exactly.
that place, but
Exactly.
now you're like comfortable. You're like, okay, I have toxin free this, that, the
Yep.
other. And now it's like we're fine tuning other little things in
Yes.
our lives. But when you're starting, it can be overwhelming. I think I started out, well, I read the book, It Starts with the Egg.
Okay.
That was a big eye opener for me,
Mm-hmm.
that not only can diet change so much, but that the things that we put our food in, our
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
containers.
I'm very anti-plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And the things that we're using to cook with, etc. Those
Mm-hmm.
things that can all greatly impact our hormonal health. So I started out with Tupperware, for instance. I got rid of the candles. I used to work at Bath and Body Works. I got
Mm-hmm.
rid of all the candles.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
awesome.
I went
That's
from
great.
one extreme to the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
And then, and then I became like a magnesium lotion,
Mm-hmm.
you know, putting what is it, manuka honey in
Yes.
my like
Yep.
we're I'm doing all the things, so it's funny because I made such a 180.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be really overwhelming. But yeah, I would just maybe pick one or two items in the house and just start slowly swapping them out. But it's kind of fun. Like once you get started,
Mm-hmm.
and
It
then you
is.
can connect with other moms. And there's so many now. We have social media, which
Mm-hmm.
we can talk about in a minute. But there's a double-edged sword there. But there are a lot of really great groups and tips out there for how to get started.
Yes, there are.
So maybe
Yep.
you can share some of the
Yeah.
local mom groups.
I mean, I follow all sorts of pages and like you said, it's a double-edged sword. Like you really have to like I'm a big researcher. I was telling you about like different studies and things. Like I make sure I'm not just listening to some like random influencer on the internet that's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like you
Mm-hmm.
really want to look into like what you're using. Um, but yeah, I feel like wellness is becoming more common too. So at least maybe that's just my curated feed. But
Mm-hmm.
it seems like more people are waking up
We're
and
getting to that.
okay. It seems like more people are waking up and like there's more wellness content out there and more people sharing about like swaps that they're making in their
Mm-hmm.
home and not just products but food too. Like I see more people being
Definitely.
mindful of like shopping local, buying
Right.
organic. um, so yeah, I think like for me, I feel like it's like everywhere I look, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that is something that's really great. It can be again overwhelming, but it's making it easier for people to make the switch.
Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't on their radar before, now it is because they're like, "What's this thing?" And the number one question I get every single day is, tell me about this toothpaste. What brand should I be using?
Mm-hmm.
I want to try something that's maybe a little cleaner or has different ingredients
Mm-hmm.
in it. And then we get into a very long conversation
Yeah.
about the different pros and the cons and what to
Mm-hmm.
use. Because, again, just like you said with birth, the same thing is true for health in general. It's not one size fits
Yep.
all. Some people benefit from certain products versus the other. And
Mm-hmm.
we talk about that in my practice. But again, yeah, it's nice that there are options now. I think maybe like 10 years ago, there was the whole gluten
Yes.
thing,
Yes.
and that
Yep.
kind of took over, and
Yep.
people were having questions about that, and
Mm-hmm.
even people who didn't have allergies outright
Yeah.
felt better when they were cutting it out.
Mm-hmm.
And now the same thing is happening with wellness
Yep.
overall.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, so even if
Uh-huh.
it's not on your radar originally, it is now.
Right. I feel like even people that like are not into wellness like adapt a few wellness
That's
habits,
right.
you know?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. Well, so I I have families that are like, well, I don't know what does crunchy mean? What
Uh-huh.
does scrunchy mean? And that's true. I guess those are more like just terms we throw around, and there's such a
Yeah.
spectrum of what it means to be holistic, which is the double-edged sword when
Mm-hmm.
you're online, because if you do this, you're not holistic.
Yep.
I don't care what you say. Versus if you don't do this, you're not holistic. It's like
Right,
you can't make
exactly.
everyone
And
happy.
that's why I mentioned like it's not about perfection
Right.
because I mean you've known me for a few months now. I'm sure you see like
Yeah.
I am one of the as crunchy as they come. I actually don't like that word, but crunchy, holistic, whatever. Like I said, I've been into holistic wellness for a very long time. 99% of the choices that I make are wellness and I still get my hair dyed. I still will go out with my
Mm-hmm.
friends occasionally to a restaurant because I also believe that like happiness is part of it too.
For
Like
sure.
I like dyeing my hair. It makes me
That's
happy,
right.
you know? So yeah, I always emphasize that because I do believe that the majority of the choices that we make because the thing is like when every day you're overloading your body with toxins,
Right.
that's when it is a problem.
Right.
Like our body naturally has a detox system
Right.
to because of course we're going to come into contact with things. And the
Mm-hmm.
problem is like living in America, the food you're eating, the products that you're
That's
using,
right.
every day it's like overload, 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 and then your body has to start storing it and like can't
Mm-hmm.
detox it fast enough and you get health issues. And I know for a lot of women they don't realize that even like I hear so many women say like I can't lose weight and they don't realize that like your body actually has to hold on to fat to store those toxins if you're
Right.
using a heavy toxic load. um, but anyways, for me it's about the everyday. Like am I making healthy choices every day?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. My body's not overwhelmed, so yep, I'm gonna go eat some chips and queso.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna go dye my hair,
Right.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, once a month or whatever for the
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Right.
so
It's about living. It's like healthy living, but the word living is part
yeah,
of it, and you want to live your life.
right.
And I feel like most of the moms that I have in my practice or that I speak with are like 80/20.
Hmm.
And some of them are like, yeah, I'm definitely this, or I'm trying. And they still say, well, I'm 80/20. And that's part of what you were saying, which
Hmm.
is there's that little, well, we want to leave a
Yeah,
little room,
yeah.
wiggle room.
Right, right. Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's
And I
perfect.
think it can be really intimidating online sometimes because you only see like especially for like a wellness
Mm-hmm.
page, you only see. So
Yeah.
I make sure I will post when I have a hair appointment. I will post when I'm out
Right.
with my friends, like
Yeah.
getting
Same.
chips and queso,
That's right.
because I want people to know like I am a huge holistic wellness advocate and I am still not 100% perfect. Like nobody is going to be, you know.
Right.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. So we've talked about sort of it's almost like not it's trending, which is
Mhm.
great. The whole wellness, it's like a movement.
Yes.
But tell me what you think about if things are trendy or like more of like they're becoming more integrated in our
Okay.
society. Essential oils and diffusers. I'm gonna write these
So,
down.
okay, so that's a hard one to answer because I do feel like it's very traditional in the sense of like even in the Bible, like essential oils are
Right.
referenced. Like we've
Right.
used plant medicine for all of time. Like that's our first medicine. But it has become very trendy in the sense of more companies are popping up
Mm-hmm.
that are offering it. And I think it's great that it's becoming more common, but I think then people are not really researching like purity
Where
and
it
just
comes
getting
from,
like cheap. Yeah,
the
so
source.
that's why I
Yeah.
don't like the trendy portion of it. But I do love the traditional,
Right.
you know, that more people seem to be using them
Right.
because like I said, that was our first medicine. And even if people aren't using them as medicine, like it's just better to have oils and diffusers in your house than
Right.
candles.
I totally agree, especially because we know too what it leaves on the wall and
Yes.
what it does to your lungs.
Yeah.
Um, Sourdough bread.
Sourdough. This is another one, same as oils, like very traditional. And I always tell people, I'm like, I was doing sourdough before it was cool. I'm
You
like
made it
a
cool.
decade ago. Yeah. Um, I actually have, I should have brought you some. I don't know if you do sourdough, but I have 100-year-old Italian sourdough starter.
That's been on my list
Yeah.
since my
Next time I
son
see
was
you, I'll
born.
bring you some.
I would love
Yeah.
that. And like just starter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But
Yep.
it's like
And
a
then
baby. You have to get up in
yes,
the middle of the
you
night.
just feed it. No, I forget to feed mine all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
I'll try.
like a little pet that sits on your counter. You just have to feed it like 6 hours before you're gonna
I'm
use it.
so excited.
Yeah. It's so great. I got it from this little like mom and pop flower farm in I think they're in like Minnesota or something. Yeah, and I'm so excited about it. I've had it for like 2 months now. I love sourdough.
I do too.
It's really interesting. It's like fermented,
It's
like
good
it's
for
like
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. As if you're gonna eat bread, it's the best form you can
Right.
eat. But yeah, I same thing. Like it's very traditional, but it also has become more trendy. But I don't think that's a bad thing,
Right.
right? Like
No.
it's yeah,
Yeah, I love
yeah,
sourdough. I've loved sourdough since I was a little girl,
yeah.
and so I'm excited to try this
Yeah,
to
I'll
make
bring you
it.
some next time I see you.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Do you want to tell everyone what's
yeah.
tomorrow by
Sure.
not going to get it out in time, but
I
for
know.
future.
Yeah, so I love hosting wellness gatherings. And tomorrow I'm hosting something called the Wellness Connection. And it is just like a fun, I love like gathering community. I love just, yeah, I feel like just letting people know like there's a space they can come to where they're welcome to, whether they're like starting on their wellness journey or have been on it for a decade. So we're just doing like a fun free gathering, essential oil roller bar. We're gonna make like a DIY like a toxin free like Tide to go pen kind of
So
thing,
cool.
and just have like a wellness mocktail bar, and it's just gonna be like fun, good vibes. So
I love
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm going to be
yeah.
there and I'm bringing a friend, so I'm
Awesome, awesome.
excited. Um, red light therapy.
Red light therapy. I do love red light therapy.
Hmm.
I think I wouldn't call it traditional. I would say it's definitely more trendy or like modern.
Hmm.
Um, I think what is coming now is like a lot of people are doing biohacking stuff like that where we have
Hmm.
these new devices. Like I love like and this is stuff that of course people don't need, like, you can go out in the sun and get the same benefits, but it is cool to be able to like have these things biohacking that even like your ozone machine, which I'm so excited about for you, but stuff like that, you know, like
I
we
haven't
have.
announced it yet.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Cut
No,
that
that's
out.
okay. I'm sure I'll have it announced
Okay.
by then.
Cut it out. So and just cut that portion out. Yeah, so red light therapy, like I love biohacking devices. I have that. I don't know if you've heard of like a Healy or a Rife machine.
I think I've heard of Helio, but not very.
Yeah,
I don't
so
know
I
what
have a
that is.
Healy. It's like a
Okay.
Rife machine. So Rife machine would be the traditional version, but it's like frequency therapy. So you can actually pick
that
the
is
frequency.
crunchy.
Yeah.
Which I love.
And I used it a couple years ago. I had mold toxicity and Lyme
Right.
disease, and I completely healed that holistically.
Amazing.
And I used that and some homeopathy and oils and all kinds of different modalities, but that was really helpful for that. So yeah, I feel like red light therapy is under that like biohacking umbrella, you know, where like I said, there it's kind of it's kind of cool that we have like modern science mixed with wellness, and we have these wellness tools.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't hate that we have influencers talking about it, because I feel like it's making it more mainstream, which is good. But it's just like where are we sourcing things from?
Yes.
And
it's the same thing with oils and all of that. It's like you have to do some research and make sure you're getting a good one.
Right. Absolutely. But I feel like the trend, not trending, but like, or trendy, but the trend towards wellness is a good thing, because people are, I'm just going to cut that out. The trend towards wellness is a good thing, because a lot of people are noticing they're getting sick and they were otherwise healthy. And we're starting to realize things in our diet and in the soil and all around us. We're literally covered with, there's toxins everywhere.
Yeah.
And so control what you can control in food, and cleaner, detergent, things like that you mentioned are things that we can control. And then we can live a little too on the side, now that we're able to control some of those things we're putting on and in our bodies. Conversation around fluoride, I want to put a pin in that and see if you'll come out for a part 2 where we can talk just dental. Because that is my wheelhouse, your wheelhouse, and probably what a lot of moms are wanting to hear about. And I've been promising them that I will have my fabulous friend Lauren on, who is a former EFTA, and will chat with me about this. So if you'll come back on for a part 2, maybe we can do.
I think it was one of the first conversations we had.
You're like, you're a what? Oh, look at my son's mouth.
Yeah.
And we can talk about airway dentistry too, because I'm just going to take some notes here. Because that's also seeing a sort of wave right now. People are starting to catch on to that, fixing the root cause, that is the base of all things holistic, I think, is like getting to the root cause and treating the issue, and not just slapping the Band-Aid on it. You know, modern medicine has its place if we need help, or, you know, we need some like training wheels to get somewhere, that's fine. But we really have to treat the root cause. And a lot of times we can find that in nature, because nature has all the things that we need.
And I think it's hard because like that's the way it's been for so long. So many people are so used to that. Like even like my grandparents, I love them so much. They're my favorite people in the world. But like they get a stuffy nose, they go to the doctor for an antibiotic. And I'm like, well, why? Like I question them, like, why are you getting an antibiotic? Well, because the doctor said that I need an antibiotic. And I'm like, but no, you don't. Like you just have a stuffy nose. You don't know if it's allergies or a virus. Like it's not a bacterial infection. So I think for so long, like these past generations it's like we went from like using plants as medicine to like pharma coming to be and pushing, and also a whole nother conversation we could talk about. But like, it's really interesting if you see the rise in like toxins and poison being added to our food and our products and people getting sick, and the connection between pharma, like what's in our food and water, and then that creating a pharmaceutical customer, and who's putting those toxins there. You know,
you don't get paid if people are healthy.
Exactly. And you don't get paid for why is medicine a Band-Aid? Because you continuously get paid. You don't get paid for curing somebody. You know,
so. Then you have a one-time customer. And that's actually something we can talk about next time too, is the medical system at large, and kind of where it originated from, and why the textbooks teach things a certain way, and kind of breaking from that. Like, it's nice that I have a more traditional background, but then I can also compare it to my holistic training and
Yeah.
say, this is where I'm deviating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still providing a standard of care,
Yeah.
but I'm not pushing certain things.
Right.
So we can maybe talk about
Yeah. And
that.
it's interesting. Like, I've been in the wellness space for so long, and people think I'm very anti-modern medicine. I always have to explain, I'm like, I'm not. I'm
Right.
not anti-doctor. I'm not anti-modern medicine. I'm anti-overuse.
Right.
I'm anti, like, so I like that you said that, because there is a place for it. There's a place for modern
Mm-hmm.
medicine. I think it's there for a reason. It's there for emergency purposes. I've had to use it several times with
Mm-hmm.
my children and myself, especially like my son having like he had really, really bad allergies as a kid, like where he would break out in hives and his whole face would be, you know what I mean? Like eyes swollen shut and stuff. Of course, I'm going to reach for Benadryl. I'm not going to reach for lavender oil. You know what I mean? And I think people get this thing in their head, like, oh, it's all or nothing. Like,
Right.
you know, so yeah.
Well, that's another question I have too is, what do you think about, what are some of the stereotypes that people have with when they hear holistic
Mm-hmm.
and they maybe don't know anybody or they don't view themselves that way and they hear holistic,
Mm-hmm.
that you think of yourself as holistic?
I think some of the things that we've talked about, of course, like people, like you're 100% perfect, right? Like I'll have people, why I started sharing more about some of the non-healthy choices I make was
Mm-hmm.
because like if I would share about dyeing my hair, people would say to me like, I can't believe that you do that. Like reply to my Instagram story, like, I can't believe you're dyeing your hair. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
It's relatable though.
Yeah, yeah. Or like being totally anti-modern medicine, or you know, having people make jokes like, oh, what are you going to do when, like, if
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like, and I'm like, no, like of course
No.
I'm going to go to the
Like,
doctor or
yeah.
hospital. Yeah. I think also like I've gotten a few comments from, and again, I've been in this
Right.
for a very long time, so like I've gotten comments over the years of people saying like it's privilege, like I'm privileged for, you know, living that way. And I I think this is the natural way of living. Like
Right.
it's not, of course, like you can go out and buy wellness things that are
Mm-hmm.
more expensive, but
Mm-hmm.
also just wellness in
Less is
itself
more.
is less,
Less is
right?
more. Yeah.
Yes, like you can go to the store and buy $10 worth of ingredients and make a year of shampoo.
Right.
Like you can go out. Wellness to me is like going out in the sun. Am I staying hydrated with,
Mm-hmm.
you know, my water? Am I feeding my body good
Right.
things? Am I
It's back to
feeling good?
basics.
Yes, it's not, that's, you know, so
I
I
know.
think that to me, like it's not, that's not privilege.
But
It's
also
not.
too, no, I think the stereotype from what I know from my
Mhm.
perspective too is that because it's trendy and it's
Mhm.
glossy, the influencers X, Y, and Z, maybe they're like, well, this is inaccessible to me. I'm just, I'm
Right.
on whatever. But it's really like lemons, baking soda. Like, we're
Yes.
back to basics,
Yeah.
and less is more.
Right.
And it's not necessarily name brand
Mhm.
things. It's, you're making a lot of stuff yourself,
Yep.
sharing it with your mom friends, and it is privilege in a sense of knowledge.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like there is a general lack of knowledge or poverty of knowledge
Mhm.
out there, and as more people are becoming aware and as it's becoming more something pervasive in our society, which is good, wellness in
Mhm.
general, what does that mean, and being more holistic, it's becoming less fringe and more mainstream, which is great.
Yep.
And therefore we're finding more products on the shelf
Yes.
that they just have fewer toxins in them, which
Right.
is great. It may not be the cleanest,
Right.
but it's
Even
cleaner.
lessening, just lessening.
Correct.
Yeah.
So in that way, but I guess even a handful of years back, before it kind of we had this push towards
Mhm.
wellness, I could see getting those
Yes.
comments
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
it seeming inaccessible, but it's really
Right. It's
not.
not.
It's not.
Yeah. It's just like I said, what choices are you making
Right.
daily? And I think that a lot of times more toxic focused choices are more expensive.
They are. They
It's so
can, for
expensive for me
sure.
to go get my hair done.
Nothing.
Like,
I
you know what
know.
I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And even, well, then too, not the hair, coloring, but if you were to proceed, it's costly down the line in terms of
Mhm.
medical
Yeah.
interventions, and trying to be
Yep.
healthy keeps you away from the
Yeah.
doctor.
They say like you pay the farmer now or you pay the doctor later.
Right.
So.
There you go.
Yep.
I love that. I haven't heard that. I
Yeah.
really like that. I think that's pretty much it. I would love to have you back for part
I
two.
would love to.
Fluoride, products that we
Yep.
love and maybe are staying away from certain
hmm
ingredients, airway dentistry, and like the medical community at large, and
hmm
how it's shaping future generations of doctors and what happened because plant medicine was really
Yep.
big and then that got quashed and then we
hmm That could
had
be a
a
whole. Yeah.
big
Yep.
resurgence of the allopathic medicine
Yep.
and less on holistic
Yeah.
medicine.
Yep, I would love to. That I feel like we
Yeah,
could have a whole,
a
yeah.
whole
Yes.
other conversation
So
about
many
that.
things we could dive so far deep
I
into. But
know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we fought through
Yes.
we fought through fevers and
I know. I
illness.
know. I know. Finally.
Everyone's good. Yeah, I mean
Yes.
there was something going around.
Yeah.
There was something going. It was like the final.
I know.
It coincided with the frost. So like
Yeah.
everyone had one last thing and
Yep.
now hopefully we're good.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'd love to have you back. Thank you so much. This was such a great
Yeah. Thank
conversation.
you. Thank you for
And
having me.
thank you. And this is